President Trump confirming last night that he wants to move the United States to a tariff-based system from an income tax system. We've been reporting on this for months. Well, last night, Trump said it publicly for the first time. He's hinted about it on the Joe Rogan podcast, but this time he came right out and said it. We're going to show you. Also, major steps being taken to end the Ukraine-Russia war. We're hearing something big is coming, like in the next week coming. We're going to break it down. And we have an update on the 300,000 children that went missing under the Biden administration. It took Trump just 5 days, 5 freaking days to make major progress in locating them. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps out the channel. And consider subscribing so you don't miss these regular updates. And we also have a big update in the second half of the video on a project out of Nevada that ties into Trump's deregulation plan that's coming. So President Trump held his first rally since being sworn in 5 days ago as our 47th president, touching down in Las Vegas, Nevada last night to hold a massive rally jam-packed with tens of thousands of Americans. During his speech, he said publicly for the first time what we've been saying for months: Trump's ultimate goal, his end goal, is to switch the United States from an income tax system back to a tariff-based system. The fact that an American president is even hinting at this is something I never thought we'd see again. And you wonder why they hate him so much. They've spent decades transforming this country, convincing the American people that taxes are good, that we must pay the government our money. It's insane. Now, he's hinted at this 2 other times. Never like this, though. It was clear as a bell last night, saying, how about this? No tax. You know, if the tariffs work out like I think, that could really happen. Years ago, 1870 to 1913, we didn't have an income tax. What we had were tariffs. It was when we were the richest. Amazing. I'm going to play the full clip in a minute. The first time Trump hinted at this was on the Joe Rogan podcast. Then 2 weeks ago, he reposted this chart saying the tariffs and tariffs alone created this vast wealth for our country. Then we switched over to an income tax. We were never so wealthy as during this period. Tariffs will pay off our debt and make America wealthy again. Look at this. Tariffs revenue as a share of total federal receipts between 1798 to 2023. From 1798 up until the turn of the century, 1900, between 50 to 100% of government receipts came from tariffs. That means almost all government revenue was generated from tariffs. The government was funded by way of tariffing other countries. It only stopped because of Theodore Roosevelt. One man, one president can really change the course of history. Roosevelt did a lot of good things, did great things. Our national park system, for one, but he's the reason we pay taxes today. One of the worst decisions a president has made 120 years later, and we're still living with the repercussions. Roosevelt believed wealthy people should pay the government a modest tax, and he used his political influence to make that happen. They literally amended the Constitution, added the 16th Amendment to allow the government to tax its citizens. American citizens were never supposed to pay income taxes. After this, presidents just got more and more greedy. By the 30s, Franklin D. Roosevelt went full-on socialist, famous for telling wealthy people to get the hell out of the country if you don't want to pay your fair share. Sounds a lot like Democrats today, right? Well, not for long. Here was Trump last night. Roll the tape.
Probably move him to the border. Yeah. She said no tax on it. How about just no tax? You could do that. You know, if the tariffs work out like I think, a thing like that could happen, if you want to know the truth. You know, years ago, 1870 to 1913, we didn't have an income tax. What we had is tariffs, where foreign countries came in and they stole our jobs, they stole our companies, they stole our product, they ripped us off. And, you know, they used to do numbers, and then we went to a tariff system, and the tariff system made so much money. It was when we were the richest, from 1870 to 1913. Then we brilliantly came in with an income tax. No, we don't want others to pay. Let's have our people pay. And then you had the Depression in 1928, 1929. I call it 1929. That was a bad time, but you didn't have tariffs, and you had tariffs that ended in 1913. But it was the richest our country ever was. That was President McKinley. In fact, we're renaming the mountain McKinley in Alaska.
In another story, the Trump administration has located 80,000 of the nearly 300,000 missing migrant children that were lost under the Biden administration. That means in a matter of just 5 days in office, Trump's been able to do what Joe Biden and Alejandro Mayorkas claimed they were unable to do for 4 years. There's still around 220,000 children missing, vanished under the care of Joe Biden's Office of Refugee Resettlement, vanished off official radar. That was according to the DHS Inspector General. A recent report from the Department of Homeland Security Office of Inspector General found that over 300,000 migrant children under the care of the Office of Refugee Resettlement effectively disappeared from official radar. The worry is that the failure and oversight left the children vulnerable to trafficking and forced labor. Yes, that really happened under the Biden administration. Here's Harris Faulkner from Fox yesterday with an update on the remaining 220,000 missing children. Watch this.
Because I'd like to play that on the air. Like if Pritzker would like to defend these people without the court and just his old love for illegal immigrants, bring it on. I'd love to see that. Now, the second wave that Tom Home and the borders are for Trump has told me about in all of this will focus on those missing children, hundreds of thousands of them that we know. And that number has started to already come down, Emily, from 300,000. So they've found about 75 to 80,000 of those kids already. If they can get the list of these guys, 4 full days in office for Trump, if they can get the list of where some of those kids have been, and they've been identifying it, since the election, going after them and trying to find those little ones, what in the world was Biden's administration doing? What was Secretary of Homeland Mayorkas doing when he said to the committees on Capitol Hill, we don't know where those kids are, I'll look into it? No, dude, you obviously had a better way to find them, and you didn't do your job. I can't believe they impeached him and didn't remove him.
In another story, Putin telling Russia One TV yesterday he's ready for negotiations. He's ready for the Ukraine conflict to end. Russia is ready for peace talks, he said. This is big. We've been hearing rumblings for days that major moves are happening to end the war. Rumors are circulating that something big is coming, that something big will be announced in the coming days, possibly a meeting between Trump and Putin. Something, I'm not sure what exactly, but we do know that the Trump administration made a series of moves to pressure both the Ukrainians and the Russians this week to get them both to the negotiating table. Putin's had the upper hand this whole time, but that appears to be changing. Trump threatening major tariffs and taxes on Russia this week, writing on Truth Social. All of that being said, I'm going to do Russia, whose economy is failing, and President Putin a very big favor. Settle now and stop this ridiculous war. It's only going to get worse if we don't make a deal, and soon I have no other choice but to put high levels of taxes, tariffs, and sanctions on anything being sold by Russia to the United States and various other participating countries. Then he followed up by saying this on Friday. Watch this.
And also big sanctions. And I don't want to do that. I love the Russian people. They're great people. I don't want to do that, but we got to get this war ended. And if they don't make a settlement like fast, and Zelensky, I will say this, he wants to settle now. He's had enough. He shouldn't have allowed this to happen either. No. If he's no angel, right. He shouldn't have allowed this war to happen. First of all, he's fighting a much bigger entity, okay? Much bigger. When he was, talking so brave and so... Now, 2 things happened. They were brave, but we gave them billions of dollars. The United States spent $200 billion more than Europe. Why did we spend more? You know why? Because Biden never asked Europe to spend more.
From what I'm hearing, one of the reasons Putin's suddenly ready to negotiate is Trump's sudden insistence on buying Greenland, which would be a major loss for Russian national security. Apparently, this has really made the Russians nervous. To Trump, it's just another negotiating tool. Maybe Trump agreeing to keep Greenland independent could come up in these talks, and Russia losing their Syrian naval base in the final weeks of the Biden administration. All of those were steps to weaken Russia's hand for this negotiation. So many things are on the table, but it looks like Trump's leveled the playing field vis-a-vis Russia. With regard to Ukraine, on Friday, Marco Rubio ordered a sweeping freeze to all U.S. foreign aid assistance, with the exception of Israel and Egypt. This comes on top of the EO Trump signed last week to halt all new foreign aid programs. That means no more money or weapons to Ukraine. Zelensky is running out of time. Thus far, he's been the biggest detriment to peace. Trump asked him to lift the prohibition he signed back in 2022 this week, prohibiting any talks with the Russian Federation. Zelensky refused. Well, not for long. Apparently, the ban is about to be lifted, which is the one condition the Russians asked for before a meeting with Trump. Putin telling Russia One TV yesterday that any negotiations under the existing circumstances would be illegitimate from a purely legal point of view until Zelensky lifts the ban. Putin also throwing Trump a bone in that same interview on Friday. Putin said that this war would never have happened if Trump were president, that it's Joe Biden's fault that it got to this point. Watch.
I'd like to say that Russia never refused to come into contact with the United States administration, and it is through no fault of ours that the previous administration refused to communicate. I always had business-like relations with the previous U.S. president that were very business-like and pragmatic, but there was trust as well. Now, if he had been the president, if the victory wasn't stolen from him in 2020, maybe the Ukrainian crisis that arose in 2022 would have never appeared.
All right, that wraps up the news portion of today's video. Now let me tell you about the sponsor for today, Nevada Canyon Gold, located in the world's premier jurisdiction, Nevada, inside the good old US of A. We just wrapped up Trump's first week in office, and it is abundantly clear America is back. No playing around, no kicking back and relaxing. This administration wants to make damn sure no one ever threatens this country again. That includes bringing the U.S. back to parity with China over rare earth minerals. He is deregulating the mining industry. It's part of the reason gold stocks are erupting right now. Today's sponsor, Nevada Canyon Gold, is doing business in the world's premier jurisdiction, Nevada, executing the most cost-effective model, royalties and streaming, and deploying these in the first-to-market strategy. The main reason I'm profiling it today is because the stock fell 85% during Biden's reign, has recently bottomed and now started a clear uptrend. Look at the appreciation of 273%, 554%, 596, 1,330% achieved in the previous mining stocks bull markets. Nevada Canyon Gold seeks to lock the untapped potential of Nevada's legendary mining districts with a unique business model and a strategic focus. Nevada Canyon Gold is redefining royalties, streaming, and exploration. Nevada is the gold capital of the United States, accounting for 76% of this nation's production. Nevada Canyon's approach is very interesting. It avoids the high capital costs of mining operations by focusing on royalty and streaming agreements. The company secures rights to production while maintaining low overhead. The scalable model ensures steady returns without the risks and costs associated with traditional mining ventures. And the company's CEO has driven the roads of Nevada's gold mining regions for the past 30 years. He's worked with the world's biggest mining companies. His database of projects in Nevada is as good as it gets. And Trump's deregulation in the mining sector would lower costs and expedite project approvals, making U.S. gold miners more competitive. This is why I'm profiling Nevada Canyon Gold. Look at this. Gold stocks down 73% since 2011, while spot price gold's up nearly 40%. This is what I call a screaming opportunity in the gold sector. How can the metal be up 40% since the 2011 highs and the miners down 73%? It's crazy. What a massive opportunity, in my opinion. History says the next move for precious metals could be huge. Gold has broken out after a 4-year consolidation. The new administration is bringing back industry to American soil. Today, a number of the most promising gold projects in Nevada, for instance, are owned by companies whose share prices are down over 80%, sometimes even down 95%. Robert List, governor of Nevada from 1979 to 1983, joined the board of directors at Nevada Canyon Gold. List has been appointed to boards and commissions in the administration of Presidents Nixon, President Ford, Reagan, George H.W. Bush, including the National Public Lands Advisory Council. I know of no better way to build a successful mining business than to follow the most important rule: buy when there's blood in the streets. Gold royalty companies have consistently delivered exceptional returns, cementing their place among the best performing stocks in history. Their success lies in a unique business model that combines the upside potential of gold prices with reduced operational risks compared to traditional miners. Do your homework on this new royalty. Streaming and exploration accelerator company, Nevada Canyon Gold. Think about this. Nevada Canyon Gold, down 80% from its peak market cap, has bottomed recently and began its uptrend. It's a pure play on Nevada's gold. Just as President Trump comes in with a pro-business, pro-mining approach, its business model is superior with a revolutionary approach to royalties, streaming, and accelerator. But most importantly, gold stocks are cheap. Historically, very, very cheap. Gold to equities ratio. Mining equities are still trading at significant discounts compared to previous bull cycles, such as in 2011 and in 1980. The price to cash flow ratio, many gold miners are trading at multiples between 6 to 10, significantly lower than the broader S&P 500, which often exceeds 15 to 20. In the 2011 gold peak, miners traded close to 15. The bottom line, for the Trump era, I am extremely bullish with the state of Nevada. If Nevada were a country, it would rank as the 5th largest gold producer globally, surpassing nations like Canada and Peru. Nevada offers unparalleled support for exploration and development. Nevada's Canyon's flagship assets, the Oling House and the Lapon Canyon royalties, the Loman, Swales, and Agapai properties, are strategically located within and near some of Nevada's most prolific mining districts and gold mines. We have gold, Nevada, and Trump. It's a trifecta, people. So look, here's what I'll do. I'll put a link to their website in the description of the video. Make sure to do your own due diligence. I'm only providing some of the info about their company, the market, and how I see the state of Nevada faring over the next few years. All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.